What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's having a good day. Not too much to cover in the markets today. Yesterday was the big day with the CPI data release, and there was some choppy market action yesterday. We'll dissect that in today's episode. Plus, one key analyst has changed their tune on Bitcoin. It's a very important analyst that has changed their tune. Some people know about this person, some people don't. I'll go through the all-star cast of who's who of crypto analysts, and I'll tell you which one is the key analyst that has changed their tune in today's episode. Plus, two key dates over the next month to watch. There's the one July 26th I've told you about several times, but there's one more key date. I'm going to tell you which one that one is to watch soon. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at BenCryptoShow, and let's begin. So the market, 20,500. This is a pretty good bounce from the CPI reports yesterday. Pretty much the price action was exactly as I predicted it. There was going to be a slight dip in the morning right before the announcement. There was going to be a dip right at the announcement. The next hour or two after the announcement, it kind of stayed low. Then it started to rebound. It started to rebound pretty quickly. Here's the 24-hour chart here. So the announcement was kind of like right here, sort of went down. Then this was around noon yesterday, a couple hours after the announcement. Then it went up. Then it went back down. Now it's going up. So a lot of people are just kind of deciding. The market is mixed messages, which sort of makes sense. Again, a lot of time has sort of gone by in the bear market. So if this was 2 months ago, I think we would have had a much more negative price reaction. But now that time is one of the main things that ends a bear market, we're seeing some upward action here too. A lot of people are calling at the bottom. They're buying in. And then, of course, there was going to be some downward movement. The inflation numbers did come in higher than expected, worse than expected. So we knew we were going to have this here. But the fact that it's bounced pretty high in the last 3-4 hours, that's impressive. That is impressive. So, I mean, the big question in everyone's mind, have we reached the bottom? Is there going to be one more nuke, which people have talked about for a while? We shall see. We're not out of the woods yet, in my mind. It could go, I think it's 50-50. I'm expecting sort of flat action for the next few weeks. So there's two key dates to watch for the one that I've been talking about. So we just had the inflation data yesterday. That always has a decent effect on prices, but not as big as the date in 2 weeks. Tuesday, July 26th, 12 days, that's when they announced the interest rate hike. So because the inflation data was a little worse than expected, and because Canada yesterday then raised their interest rate announcement hike from 75 basis points to 100 basis points, and they usually mirror what they think we're going to do, that means there's a decent chance we could have a 100 basis points hike. Initially, a couple days ago, everyone thought it was going to be 75 basis points. Now there appears to be a greater than 50% chance it's going to be 100 basis points. The actual hike doesn't really matter as much as the anticipation does, and the forecast not being too out of whack. So I'm kind of expecting sort of lateral neutral price movement till then. I think there's still going to be a little jitters on people's minds because prices do react bigger to this announcement here. The interest rate hike, that was the announcement consensus weekend that did contribute to the market nuking. So I think we're going to have jitters for the next 2 weeks. Then I think on the 26th, we'll probably have the exact same price reaction as we had on the 13th. I think it'll go down the day before, then I think right around the announcement it'll go down even more, and then a couple hours later, then I think it'll start to go up. Then I think 26th to 31st, I think that's a great long-in opportunity right there. I think the prices are definitely going to go up. There's another key date to watch in about 3.5 weeks, though. August 9th. So as we all know, the two things that nuked the market a month and a half ago was two very specific things: the interest rate hike announcement and consensus. For whatever reason, big conferences in the U.S., they just consistently nuke the market. Both BTC Miami's the last year, prices went down afterwards. The North American Bitcoin Conference in Miami in January, prices went down. And then the consensus a month ago, we all know what happened there. So thankfully, there's no big conferences in the U.S. anytime soon that might cause jitters. There is a fairly decent-sized conference in Toronto, August 9th. So I think I'm going to probably actually go to this one. It looks fun. The lineup looks pretty good. I couldn't really tell how many. I guess it's the biggest crypto conference in Canada. They did it in 2019. It was the biggest then. They didn't do it the last 2 years because of the pandemic. Now they're doing it again. So this is the only big conference in North America over the summer. So the prices could go either way. I personally went long going into this conference just because it's another big North American conference. It looks fun. I'm going to probably go. Very excited to meet people there, but I'd be cautious going long beforehand. If I could guess what it would do, I think prices beforehand will dip slightly. The fear, I think, around the market. So it's a 2-day conference, the 9th and 10th. I think kind of most of this week, prices are still going to sort of stay low. I don't think it's going to be a quick rebound the way it is during the interest rate hike announcements. So I would expect this whole week to be kind of low. Investors are deciding, was this conference good? Was it not as good? Did any big partnerships come out of it? And then I think some relief is going to be breathed out maybe around the 13th, 14th, 15th, about 5 days after the conference. And I think the market's going to slowly start going up. So not an immediate go up, slowly go up. And then I think that might be the end of the bear market. We could also have in 2 weeks, this could also be the end of the bear market after the interest rate hike announcement. I think the Toronto conference is still going to kind of be on people's minds. But if it goes well, which I think it will, and I'm excited to most likely go, then I think this could mark the start of a long bull run. We shall see, though. We shall see. Fingers crossed. And again, I wouldn't necessarily go long during the week just because of what happened to consensus in North American conferences. I think we'll start seeing the effect the week after. Let's move on. So anyway, so I was saying that one key analyst has changed their tune on Bitcoin. So we'll go over the bunch of analysts at Big Day yesterday, CPI. So we'll go over the all-star crop of analysts here and their opinions, and then we'll go over the one that I did notice that is sort of a big deal. But let's start with Maren Altman, of course. She put out her, this is her 2-week forecast. She put this out recently, 10-second clip. Take a listen.
Along with the 18th, Venus is trine Bitcoin's Venus. On the 24th, Mars is trine Bitcoin's Sun. The 25th has Mars trine ETH's Pluto, and Venus trine ETH's Neptune.
There we go. So again, I've played plenty of Maren Altman clips. At this point, everyone should be very versed in decoding what she's saying. This is old hat to everyone by now. But mostly positive the next 2 weeks, kind of neutral, maybe some choppiness Sunday, maybe some choppiness Saturday. That's Maren Altman decoded. Now, she is not the analyst in question, but this is a very influential and important opinion here. Always nice seeing her videos there. I generally agree with her price predictions over the next month. She's predicting a big nuke at the end of the month. I'm predicting 26th to 30th to be positive, so we kind of defer there. But over the next 2 weeks before then, I'm right in line with her predictions. Greg, see, I checked his page religiously yesterday to see what his opinions on the inflation numbers. No opinion yet. I have no idea what CPI is, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. So, Greg, we got to have baby steps with Greg. He's mastered the Twitter game. His crypto game, he's young, still kind of learning the ropes here. So I think as time goes on, we'll start to get some informed crypto opinions out of Greg here. He did put up this pretty cool chart right here. What does CPI stand for? Somebody put this chart up, and Greg then blasted it. So CPI stands for Consumer Price Index, which is a fancy way of basically saying inflation. But here's a bunch of people guessing what it stands for. Some great answers here. What is it? Consumer Pain Index, Controlled Profit Implosion, Canadian Porn Index. It's the average amount of porn the average Canadian watches. It's a good one. Cost per influencer, which makes sense. Crypto Price Incinerator. It's a great one there. Civil War II Probability Index. Wow, very, very innovative names here. Cramer Pro Inverse. It's a new spot ETF Jim Cramer is coming out with. So yeah, we got some good ones here. Good post from Greg or whoever initially put out this chart of what the hell CPI stands for. I might do a little poll later what everyone's favorite abbreviation for CPI is from this poll, because there's some good ones here. Let's go on to the who's who of crypto analysts here. Next on the list, Girl Gone Crypto. Chilling at the pool in Vegas. I mean, this was a breath of fresh air. This was like a few hours after the CPI announcement yesterday. I knew Twitter was going to be pretty active with CPI tweets. It was just out of control. I'm just like bombarded, like so many tweets. Inflation, blah, blah. Like I knew it was going to be to a certain extent. It was even more so. And then just right in the middle of it, it's just a breath of fresh air. I'm about the breath of fresh air on Twitter. Girls Gone Crypto, chilling at a pool in Vegas. No CPI mention whatsoever. Right in the thick of it. That's her take on it. Let's move on. Here's another one here for somebody else. Sure looks like a good candidate for a bottom, but a lot of people were confused in the comments. Like, is he talking about Bitcoin or like some guy from Grindr? Sure looks like a good candidate for a bottom. You got to be more specific with your tweets. People can mistake the wording here. It's very, very confusing. Everyone in the comments are not quite sure if this refers to grinder activity or Bitcoin. It's a joke, by the way. Now we're going to get to the analyst in question that matters probably more than anyone. So the analyst that did change their opinion, which it's people that I don't really come up with too much creative stuff myself, but I think I'm pretty good at analyzing all the data, the different opinions, and seeing which are the ones that are the most important. So El Capo of crypto, he's been fairly accurate with calling the market downtrend of the last 2 months. And yesterday, a couple hours after CPA, he put up this tweet. This is his first positive tweet in months. So he never really calls the bottom. He doesn't really call a price target, but he has been accurate calling that we're going to have some more nukes pretty soon. His timing's been good. He put up this tweet, downtrend is weakening. Legs down are getting shorter, and with less drop percentage, the bounces are weaker and shorter based on this and some other time extensions. Bottom is very close time-wise. And then he's also saying maybe the bear market might come back later in the year. I'm not quite sure. I think once we just get over this bear market, I think it's going to keep going. I'm not sure I agree with that one here. But I do agree with his take. And so this is his first positive tweet in months. I've been watching religiously because he has been more accurate than the vast majority of people on Twitter. And he's saying it might be over time-wise here. It's just had the reaction of the CPI was just better than expected price-wise. So that's key right there. It's good. Let's move on. So the one big, so obviously a lot of people are comparing 2018 to 2022. The price action has been exactly the same during the bear markets, like literally verbatim. But there is one key difference. So there's just more general interest in Bitcoin right now than there was in 2018. So this is Google search terms for Bitcoin. In 2018, so this was after, it went straight up to 20,000, then it went down. So search terms literally went down 95%. So whatever this ranking is, 100 something. It went from a ranking of 100, whatever people were Googling Bitcoin each day, to literally about 5, it looks like here. So search terms went down 95% from the peak of that bull run to the bear market 6 months later. Here, the fall isn't nearly as bad. It's gone down from 75 to 25. So it's not a 95% decrease in general internet interest in Bitcoin, crypto, those terms. It's more of just like a 55, 60% decrease. That's a pretty big difference right there. And the interest in Bitcoin based on Googling it looks like about 4 to 5 times high as it was during 2018. Now the market is bigger, so that's obviously going to play a factor, but it does show that even when the price has gone down, the general interest in Bitcoin, mostly from non-crypto people, has not gone down nearly to the same extent. So I hope that this translates to price movement. As I said, this has not correlated to any improved price movement. The price since 2018, the price movement has been exactly identical. But maybe it could correlate to a quicker recovery. That would be my hope. We have nothing to base this on because none of the bear markets have been like this, where just general interest in Bitcoin did stay relatively high. So we'll see, but this is a bullish indicator here. Let's move on to some news items for the day. Let's get this article up here. Preview. Voyager token. Voyager skyrockets 586% after court orders seizure of 3 Arrow's capital assets. So it skyrocketed big time. It was a short squeeze, is the article. It looks like a lot of the people. So a short squeeze is when people see that there's a lot of leverage on the books, so meaning there's a lot of short leverage specifically, and then if they buy up the token to a certain price, then if they get it up like 30% higher, then the leverage is just going to get cleaned out, and then the price is going to skyrocket up more from there. This is what happened from Voyager tokens. So this is the 7-day chart. These are the last 2 days here. Price went up ultimately went up 600%. The price was going up steadily for the first day, and then here's the liquidation event here when it just shot up from 40 cents to about 90 cents instantaneously. So that was short leverage, was just immediately wiped out, liquidated right there. Then it has retraced slightly since then, but yeah, this appears to be an organized short squeeze. This movement was not really based on anything to do with the court ordering the seizure of the 3 Arrows capital assets. That wouldn't have really had an increase on the price, but sort of a GameStop style short squeeze. That was interesting. What else? California is investing in multiple crypto lending companies. State's Department of Financial Protection Innovations looking at whether firms that have suspended consumer withdrawals and transfers have violated its laws. So it looks, they don't really name the companies that they're looking at, but it looks like the typical sort of Voyager, to BlockFi, not 3 Years Capital because they're a hedge fund. But yeah, BlockFi and Voyager look like the two big ones, and they might be looking at some other DeFi companies which haven't really nuked or haven't been affected that much, but might be having exceptionally high interest rates, like way higher than the 15 to 20%, which put these companies sort of in the gray. So yeah, it just goes to show DeFi, it's going to be under the microscope a little bit more going forward. So are stable coins, but that's kind of a little harder to sort of manage or put them under the microscope. It's like, okay, where are the reserves? So they can try to enforce audits on that. I don't know how effective that's going to be, but DeFi, I think, is just a little bit easier for them to put under the microscopes. Just look at the companies that have way higher than normal interest rates. Maybe predict, okay, these companies could be ripe for an implosion, so let's just sort of put them under the microscope in kind of unspecified ways. So again, DeFi going forward, it's always going to be there. There's some good tokens. The earnings coins or the earnings ecosystems are the ones that I think are just going to really blow up going forward because they're not under the microscope in any way, capacity. But we shall see. Anyways, that's it for today. Be back tomorrow with a new video. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at BenCryptoShow. See everyone tomorrow. Until then, this is Ben.